In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Xbox Developer Direct 2026, specifically two games, Beast of Reincarnation and Fable. While the other two games were interesting, one was Forza, and I'm not a Forza person, I'll be honest. I'm just not a car person, so unfortunately, I am not the right person to talk about that. And the other one is a Double Fine game. It looks cool, it looks weird, but that's one game that I'm definitely going to need to look more into because we need to see a lot more, because those games can be weird and a lot of things can happen. So I don't want to look at it too early. My name is the Techno Jelly. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I do these style of videos on Mondays, so please come to the channel on Monday to check out these news videos. Like the video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it. It really helps me out on the channel. Now let's get straight into it. Starting with Beast of Reincarnation. Now, Beast of Reincarnation, I think, is proof of GameFreak being a really good developer and Pokemon kind of holding them back, because the Pokemon games, especially as of late, have been hammered by technical problems and a terrible engine, basically. And Beast of Reincarnation is proof to me that these developers know exactly what they're doing, but the problem is they're on a 1-year timeline, basically, most of the time for the Pokemon games, on an engine that was made for the 3DS. And it just shows during this developer direct that they know what they're doing and they can make a game that for their regular gaming audience looks amazing and looks interesting, because this game blew my mind, honestly, because I was not expecting anything from GameFreak. When I saw this was GameFreak originally when they first teased it, I was expecting not this. To be fair, I am kind of a Pokemon hater right now, because while I love Pokemon, I think the Pokemon games constantly disappoint me. The last one I played was Pokemon X because it literally gave me motion sickness of how badly the frame rate was. It hurt me to play it. Like, it literally made me sick. And ever since then, the frame rate hasn't gotten any better. So, like, I haven't really played them. And they're really expensive because, you know, it's Nintendo, so their games are very expensive. But even watching those games, they kind of felt meh. They kind of felt like the engine is holding them back so hard, I feel like. And Beast of Reincarnation just shows that this is true. Because I don't know what engine they're using. I think it's Unreal. It is Unreal Engine 5. So I guess they are, like, it's a huge jump from engine because the Pokemon engine is literally made for the 3DS. So I guess you do have that Unreal Engine look already, but even so, the creativity in the game world and the combat animations, and like, it did look like just straight up gameplay they were showing during this direct, looks really interesting. The main character looks really interesting. The world looks really interesting. The one person, one dog, like, game tag of an action role-playing game is interesting. And the way you utilize the dog also looks not unique, but it looks, I'm trying not to use the word interesting, but everything just looked interesting because of the slowdown mechanic. I don't know if it completely becomes paused or if it's just a slow down time mechanic when you command your dog companion to do something, because they do a little thing in the development direct. They show utilizing the dog, and like, time slows down at least, and you have a little list of things you can select, and then you do a quick time event, and then bam, you do it, and then you can continue with your combat, which is an action adventure style combat. I don't want to say Souls-like because it's not going to be Souls-like. It's going to be more of a, from what I can tell, it looks like more of a Stellar Blade, or I can't remember the game right now. The game that from 2B is from Nier Automata. So it's going to be, it feels like it's more like that type of action style rather than like a Dark Souls style. But I'm sure people are going to start, because it's a third person action game and it looks like you can dodge roll, or not dodge roll, but like you can dodge and parry and stuff. People are going to compare it to Dark Souls because that's what people do. And also Black Myth Wukong, also, because that, like, those styles of action games are very, I think, different from Dark Souls, even though they are technically third person action games. I think this game could prove to me specifically, and other people that are kind of haters of Pokemon, that Game Freak can do other things. And also, depending on how this goes, it also might prove to me that, man, maybe Nintendo needs to just, like, do something about the Pokemon engine. Or, like, I don't know, maybe take a break on Pokemon games for like 1 year so they can make an engine or do something with the engine. Just anything, because holy cow, this Developer Direct really showed me, I was like, wow, the creativity of Game Freak is actually amazing. And like the weird robot faction as well, with this fantasy, almost weird, it's like this weird fantasy high-tech urban apocalypse setting, and but it has the creatures with it as well, and the action combat. It kind of reminds me, some of the enemies actually kind of reminds me of the big raid bosses in Pokemon, and I wonder, because of this game, that's one of the reasons why they started doing more in-depth combat with the Pokemon games, like the Pokemon 8ZA. It'd be interesting to see if this game caused that game to exist for the real-time combat. I'll be curious, honestly. I'm very curious. And I'm actually now excited about this game, which is interesting because I did not expect to be excited about this game, but I'm super into this game and I really want to play it. And luckily it's going to be day one Game Pass, so I'll be able to play it. And the whole equipment system, it's an open world RPG. You can stealth, be ranged, be a melee combat person. It's going to be super interesting to see how well these mechanics actually blend in together. And I'm just sort of curious about the story, because it does seem like it's a story-based RPG. Like there's going to be more of a story. It's not just going to be, finding things on a map. There's going to be cutscenes and stuff and character dialogue. So I'm curious how well that goes. And if the story is good, this also shows that Pokemon is still holding them back, because the Pokemon stories have never been good. But if Game Freak can make this story and world interesting with good character dialogue, it just proves that something is wrong when they're doing Pokemon. Like, there must be a group of people that control what they can do creatively with Pokemon. And that wouldn't surprise me, because they probably are limited in what they can actually do with Pokemon. And I'm sure, especially for some of the veterans on Game Freak, I'm sure they are tired of Pokemon at this point. They've been working on Pokemon forever. And while Game Freak isn't only the Pokemon company, they're not only the Pokemon game developers. That is 100% what they're known for, and basically everyone forgot they made games other than Pokemon for a long time. And if this game is good, I am totally down for more Game Freak games on other... First of all, this was an Xbox developer direct. I forgot that they could release games on other platforms other than Nintendo, because technically they're not a Nintendo company. They're a partnered company, so they just only release the Pokemon games on Nintendo. But other things they can do that, so I completely forgot about that. But I'd be down for different Game Freak games if this game turns out to be good, and I'll be trying it. So I'm excited about this one. Moving on to another game that I wasn't sure that I was going to like, but now that I've seen it more, I think I'm glad they tried. Fable is being made by the Forza developers, Playground Studios. And at first, when it was announced that they were the ones working on it, everyone's like, what? That is a strange choice. But it turns out it looks like it was the correct choice. Now, there was a lot of promises in this Fable showing. And kind of like Lionheart themselves, there was a lot of promises for the original Fable games too. But this time, I feel like there's at least a little bit more show rather than just tell. For instance, the gameplay side of it looks really thought out. The combat looks good. The swapping between different weapons of ranged and then the magic and then your melee all looked pretty good. Actually, now that I think about it, I said ranged. I don't remember seeing... Oh, no, sorry. You do have a bow. 100%. There was a time where you took out a bow. So you can do the ranged, melee, or magic, and the melee options are different. I'm interested to see if the ranged option is only a bow. I wonder if you can use crossbows or anything like that. I doubt there'd be any like early time firearms, because I don't think Fable's ever really done something like that, but that would be kind of interesting. I always enjoy fantasy games that start adding firearms simply because they're easier to use for common people. They're just cheaper and easier to use at the time. So it'll be interesting to see if they do that. I doubt it though. I am curious if they're gonna, like, the real curiosity for ranged is if you can use a crossbow, because right now it's just a bow. And they did show off a bunch of melee weapons like the sword, hammer, and I think they showed a dagger as well. It might have been just the sword and hammer for now. Yeah, it was just the sword and hammer. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. But it looks interesting. The one thing that I'm worried about personally is when they said you can talk to every single NPC. They're all living NPCs. They all have routines. That is where I become skeptical. Because we've heard this before with Fable specifically in the early days of Lionheart and Fable 1 and Fable 2 and Fable 3 and all of them. Because while I want to believe them, I don't trust them when they say every single NPC is unique and can voice and is voiced. I mean, I'm sure they can be voiced, but like, I just don't see that as a realistic possibility of where there isn't a template for these characters and you can see similar templates. Or like you can see that while they are technically uniquely different, they're categories of people. Because like I just don't see them hiring thousands of voice actors to do these, right? And I don't see them making thousands of character models differently to make these random NPCs that most people aren't talking to. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they're copying pasting, but I just don't see them being over 1,000 unique characters, or however they're saying. Now, the living population, I can sort of agree with. Like, that is something that they can do. I can see it. But once again, I just don't see it being unique. I can see some characters doing the same things, I'm sure. So I don't know if they're trying to use unique as a buzzword or if it is just something like a marketing term, because like they have to have templates or like similar hobbies. Like some characters are similar to others because the personality traits, you can't have 1,000 different characters fully unique. There has to be similarities between people. So I'm sure they're not going that far extreme. So that's why I feel like I don't like it when people say, or when developers say, you know, they're all unique, because they're not going to be all unique. There's going to be templates. You can't tell me you didn't use templates for these NPCs. So there's going to be similar traits, I'm sure. And how they all react to you is a very Fable thing. I like that they just yell at you if they like at you or dislike you. I really hope they have more British insults in there. I want as many British things in this game as possible because that's just Fable. So there needs to be more British things. That is a demand for me. If it doesn't have that, I will be sad. The returning enemies and new enemies are interesting, but the problem is I'm going to have to expose myself here. Even though I'm excited for Fable, I've never actually played Fable 1, 2, and 3. I know about them. I've looked at them. I've watched them. I've seen people talk about them, but I myself wasn't into Fable when it first came out, and I just never got around to it. So maybe that's something I need to first correct before I play this one, or play this one and then play the older ones to see what they changed and all that type of stuff. Maybe that'll be a future video or anything like that. So I understand this is slightly weird because, you know, I'm talking about a game that I don't have any experience with, but I think it's really interesting to see what they are saying. This is the same and this is different, or this is the same but our take on it, or different variants of those statements. And I think one thing that personally I'm very excited about is the morality in Fable. Because the one thing I know about Fable, and the one thing I've seen about Fable, is you could be super evil or super good. And the world and people will change around you because of that. Now, one thing I did see is that your character appearance doesn't change with how evil you are or how good you are, which I actually agree with. I think forcing your character to look different because you act a different way is kind of taking away of the role-playing game, because you can look like a good guy but are evil. Like, there are plenty of characters in Worlds, and I feel like in Fable, if I remember correctly, that are good guys but look bad, are bad guys but look like good guys. It's a trope, literally. So I feel like that is kind of strange, but overall I think I like the morality and choices, at least what they said they're going to be. I do kind of am weirded about that they just spoiled one of the characters in the game of like one of their endings, which is strange because like he was supposed to be a big deal, but I won't spoil it, but they just spoil something in the game, and it's kind of strange that they do, and I don't know why they do it. I hate it when game developers just spoil big things. Or maybe this isn't supposed to be a big thing. I thought it was going to be a big deal. I'm kind of trying to avoid it, so I won't say it. But I feel like they spoiled something, and it's weird. While I personally don't care about spoilers that much, when it comes to my enjoyment, I know other people really care about spoilers sometimes, and it's strange to me in a developer direct when the game's supposed to come out this year that they spoiled something, apparently. And also another thing that they didn't say anything about was Xbox Game Pass. So this might not be in a day one Game Pass game, which is interesting because Playground Games is literally a Xbox studio. So if Fable isn't on Game Pass right away, that's interesting. That'll be an interesting choice. So that means they want to start trying to sell games again. Because even though I love Game Pass, you can't deny the fact that people are not buying games on Xbox because they're just going to be on Xbox Game Pass. So it's interesting to see that there, but maybe it's just they don't want to announce it yet because they want people to pre-order the game on like Steam or Xbox or whatever you want to do. Because I mean, it's also going to be on PS5. So it's going to be interesting to see, because Actually, now that I look on it, it's not. I know it. Sorry, it is on Steam, but it is also on Xbox Cloud. So maybe that's why they're not putting it on the Xbox Game Pass, because it's on the cloud service. Maybe. But it's also on Xbox on PC, which I don't know anyone. Please, if you are a person, do not buy games for PC on the Xbox app. Just use a different thing. Like, go to Epic, go to GOG, go to Steam. Don't use the Xbox app unless you absolutely have to. Because man, is that a terrible service. So don't do it, please. But it's so interesting to me that it's not going to be a day one Game Pass, as we know. So that's out of left field, honestly. I thought it was going to be day one Game Pass easy, like the Beast of Reincarnation that we talked about earlier. But apparently it's not. So maybe I won't be playing this right away, because that's how generally Xbox games, generally the reason how I've been playing them right away or play them eventually is through Game Pass, because it's just cheaper. So it'll be interesting to see. But that is all I have to speak about today. Thank you everyone for watching. I really appreciate it. When you do and take the time out of your day to watch all of these videos that I make, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you dislike it. I completely understand. If you'd like to support me directly, I have a Patreon account at patreon.com/thetechnogel. You join all of these nice people in the credits, as well as a once a month live stream that we do on Patreon. You can vote on it on Patreon right now. Actually, you can vote on what we're going to be doing in February. And if you would like to support me even more, I have an affiliate code for Poggers, the energy drink. While I personally am not a big energy drink person, this is a more healthier version. So if you'd like to support me and get a 10% discount on it, use my code TheTechnoJelly at discount, linked down in the description if you'd like to check it out. If you'd like to check me out on other platforms, I have a Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Threads. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Goodbye, everyone.